Hello? Hey, I think we're live. Let me know if you guys can hear me, can see me. If you guys are alive. I hope you're alive. I'd be worried if you're not, but you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is, as they say. Hold on. Let me just. Ooh, there you go. All right. So. Just give me a second. Move this up. Not like that. There you go. Okay. Okay. All right. Everything seems to be working. All right. It's really weird because like on the YouTube Studio thing, oftentimes the number of concurrent viewers, like I'm not sure if it's actually correct. You know what I mean? It's weird. Anyways, so the as I said at the end of yesterday's stream, today I'm gonna start adding more environmental stuff, right? Like right now we have 2 different enemy types, 3 different types of projectiles, and oh hey Silver Sterling, and also like hello everybody, hello Red Herring, Clark Can, etc. etc. Basically, as I said, like we have some very, very, very basic core gameplay features, which is like a player that has, let's say, 3 different types of, or no, 4 different types of interactions with the enemies. So we have the jump, where like when the player jumps on top of an enemy, they bounce back and they do damage to the enemy. Then we have, what's it called? Then we have the 3 different projectile types. And then we also have the 2 enemies, right? And like some very, very, very basic type of level design objects, like the jump pad, the platforms, the spawners, etc., etc. You know? And then we technically have this, the type of orange lava floor thing, right? Which for now only works with the player. But what I'm thinking is that, as I said yesterday, I'm going to remove the damage from the player's projectiles, and I'm going to only keep the knockback. And the goal is to, what do you call it? Like to push the enemies into the lava, and that's, I guess, how the player scores points, right? But before we proceed with this, I'm gonna use an anecdote from the past 2 days, okay, to to really hammer the point across of like how debugging works, right? So there are, let's say, 3 types of problems with regards to code in Unity, at least. Again, I can't speak for Unreal or any other engines, but with Unity, there are 3 main types of problems. That there are other types, but really, when we're talking about the most common problems when related to code, I'd say there are 3 types, right? So let me just open up Paint again. All right. So type number 1 would be, I'd say, again, because I'm self-taught, it's all kind of informal. But I think the best way I could name this issue would be compiler slash code compiling. Oh Jesus. Oh fuck. Okay. compiler slash code compilation issues, aka Visual Studio. Okay. Then number 2, fuck. I ate some yogurt before the stream, and every time I eat this yogurt, it's like a very thick Icelandic yogurt. So then for whatever reason, it always makes me cough. Fuck, and I have hiccups. Jesus. Oh, fuck. Hey, Moldy Crow. I'm dying over here, but don't mind me. Okay. Oh, fuck. I'm trying to hold the hiccups in. Oh, shit. Okay, so the number 1 is fuck. This is such a disaster. Okay. So number 1 is compiler slash code compilation. Fuck. Code compilation issues. Hold on, I'm gonna show you what this yogurt is. Oh, fuck. It's this thing. It's really good. It's really fucking good. It's real nice, but it's really thick. Hold on. It's this thing. By the way, I'm not paid by them. They're not sponsoring anything. I'm just saying I really like it. It's really good. I had the fucking raspberry one. Really good. All right. All right. Well, I think the hiccups is going away. Okay. Back on topic. So as I was saying, 3 main issues, right? Number 1 is compiler slash code compilation issues, also known as Visual Studio. The second one is, I'd say, let's call it Unity Editor Console issue. Okay. Or issues. Whew. Yeah, I think the fucking hiccups went away. Jesus. Okay. And then the third one would be our yogurt's 10 pages. Damn. But yeah, and the third one would be human errors. Okay? And so I would say that in terms of problems, actually, yeah, I should have swapped the colors basically. Oh fuck! What the fuck? Okay, there you go. Yeah, there you go. This one here is the least bad, the compiler slash code compilation issues, and I'm gonna show you an example. Okay, let's say I have stuff here, right? Like this is my code from yesterday for the explosions. And stuff, and remember we always put a semicolon, right? Is that what it's called? Hold on, I just want to make sure. Semicolon. Aha, yes, yeah. So basically we put a semicolon at the end of like most of our lines, right? So let's say for whatever reason I just forgot one here, right? I forgot the semicolon. Now it's giving me a tiny little... Oh, wait. I'm going to zoom in. I keep forgetting to zoom in. Okay. There you go. So basically, I'm going to Control Z, right? Here, let's say when I wrote this line, I forgot the semicolon, let's say. So now it's giving me this little error here, right? And even here, if you look at the little explanation at the bottom, the CS1002, it says semicolon expected, right? And here, if you look at on the left side, this little yellow thing shows that there's an unsaved change that I made, right? If I click Control Z, it's gonna disappear. If I click Control Y, it's gonna reappear, right? Undo, redo, right? And now I'm gonna click Control S, and now it's saved. So now it's green to say that it's saved, right? If I click on my project, nothing has compiled, right? And here immediately it gives me a console message that says, you know, blah, 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 CS1002, semicolon expected, right? So these are the easiest mistakes, right? The easiest quote unquote bugs, mistakes, whatever that you can expect, right? Because and like if because you're gonna have bugs in your games every time, pray to God that these are like 99% of the bugs you have, because these are really easy, right? Because it immediately tells you what the error is and it refuses to compile until you fix the error, right? So now I'm gonna put a semicolon on, I'm gonna save, and now boom. See, compiling C#, reloading domain, running backend compiling scripts, etc., etc. Boom. See, now no more console errors, no more problems, right? Now the next type of problem, I call it a Unity editor console issue. But as you saw, we here when we had the compiler error, it did show us an error here, right? In the what's it called? The console, right? So let me just player torso, right arm, left arm, and then player upgrade zone, okay? So here we have our script that um, gives basically we have the prefabs of the arms. They're not actual prefabs, but let's pretend that they are prefabs, right? I've added each of them to the list, etc., etc. So when the player collides with the upgrade zone, they're gonna receive one of these, right? One of these three left arms, one of these three right arms, right? Likewise, when the let's say left arm 0, it has a projectile here, right? So now for a second, let's just open the prefabs here to just have them ready, okay? And let me just select all of my arms. Okay, oh fuck, hold on. Let me select all my left arms and do none, right? And do, oh, fuck's sake, hold on. And do, I'm clicking here on the circle, none. There you go, okay? And now we're gonna save. Okay, so now you're gonna see the next type of error, which I refer to as a Unity, what's it called? A Unity controller error, right? So now I'm gonna left click, right click, and see it's giving me errors, right? Player left arm has not been assigned. Or not left arm, but right arm projectile prefab object hasn't been assigned. Left arm hasn't been assigned, etc., right? So this comes from the fact that technically speaking, the scripts are working, but so Visual Studio isn't giving us any errors, right? But technically speaking, there are errors, right? In this case, it's a human error. I just forgot to add the prefab, so let's do Control Z. Hold on. Control Z, there you go. So now let's save. Let's save, and let's just test to make sure everything's working. Again, boom, boom, boom. There you go, right? Everything's working. Pew, pew, pew. There you go. Oh! Yeah, there you go. Hold on. All right. Oh! All right. Okay, so it's working, okay? And now the third type is the human errors, right? Because, okay, hold on, I'm just gonna finish this because this is kind of important, right? So even though the example I used was one with human errors, the thing is my code, all of the scripts I've done so far are good enough to the point where I don't have this type of, the second type of error, right? Which is the Unity editor console issues. But basically, I'm gonna use my game as an example. I can't show you anything because I've solved these issues, right? But basically what happens is that sometimes, even though Visual Studio is telling you that everything's fine, everything's great, you're not getting any error messages and stuff, the moment you start playing the game, all of a sudden it's gonna tell you like, oh, this isn't working as intended, right? And these errors mostly happen when you're using ECS, right? Which in for those of you who don't remember, hold on. ECS is like a different way of coding in Unity. It's way less intuitive, it's way more complicated, and so you get way more of this second type of issue. And these types of issues are the reason why I started using ChatGPT, because I would get some weird issue and it would give me like a whole paragraph, like maybe 10 to 20 lines of absolute gibberish. I would read it and I would be like, what the fuck does this even mean, right? And so then I would go to ChatGPT, copy paste my script to ChatGPT, then copy paste the error message it's giving me, and then it would like translate this weird type of the weird terms and language that they were using, and it's basically going to be like, oh yeah, like your issue comes from this line because this isn't set up properly, or these two variables are kind of doing the same thing, and so the script doesn't know which one to use, like weird stuff like that, right? In our case, these errors aren't going to happen that often, but these are kind of trickier, right? They're way more trickier than these ones, right? And then the last ones, which are the worst ones, is the human errors, because these errors here, right, are stuff like, oh, you're not getting a compiler error, meaning that Visual Studio, everything's fine, everything's great in Visual Studio. You're also not getting any console issues, right? So like even the Unity editor is like, yeah, no, everything's good, everything's fine, like go wild, you know? But whatever it is that you're trying to do isn't working, right? So for instance, the errors we had with the blue enemy being unable to dash properly when mid-air, that was an example of human errors where we're not getting any official error messages anywhere, right? Like Visual Studio is not telling us anything, the Unity console is not telling us anything, but it's clearly not working, right? So, and those bugs are the worst, because these are the bugs you're going to be wasting like hours of your life doing, right? And so the reason why I explained all of this to you guys is just to say that like yesterday and the day before, I spent maybe a total of 10 hours, okay, working, trying to fix two different bugs, just for me to realize at the end, like last night at like 10:30 p.m. or some shit, okay, I realized that there was no problem with the code, no problem with Visual Studio, nothing. It's just because basically, okay, I had one script. Oh fuck, hold on. There you go. I had script 1, okay, that was using variables x, y, and z, and it was doing a calculus of like, let's say, x plus y plus z equals ABC or whatever, right? And then I had script 2, which was using the same x, y, and z variables, right? However, it was doing x minus y minus z, right? I'm simplifying the situation, right? But it's just for you guys to understand, right? Which the intended effect was for it to give me minus a, b, and c, right? And so because I was using the same variables, right, whenever I would set the variables to negative, so let's say x, y, and z are equal to, let's say, -1, -2, and -3, right? Well, then this would be like -1 plus -2 plus -3 equals -6. But it shouldn't equal -6. It should be equal to 6. And then here, it would be -1 minus -2, which is equal to -0 or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Basically, I fucked myself, is what I'm trying to say, right? And so this is what I'm saying. It's like, these are the worst mistakes because the whole time I just couldn't figure it out, right? Because first I fixed this script, but then this one stopped working, and it didn't cross my mind that this one stopped working because by fixing this one, I broke this one. You know what I mean? So again, this is why you need to be really, really, really careful with how you code your stuff and how the logic works and which script interacts with which other script in what specific way, especially if two different scripts are accessing the same data from the same game object. You know what I mean? So anyways, this huge like 20-minute tangent was just to tell you guys to like really review your code, because after a while I couldn't figure out what the problem was, so I started sending my code to ChatGPT, and even ChatGPT couldn't figure it out because the problem wasn't with the script. The problem was with me setting things up the wrong way, right? So anyways, so there you go, tangent over. Now let's actually get to work, right? So we have the spawner that's over there. For now, I don't think I'm gonna touch the spawner just because it can stay invisible. We don't really care about that. This here, it's untagged, it's level floor boundary. Okay, and has a level boundaries. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so let's go into our level boundaries script, and here it says on trigger enter if player. For now, it's forcing our player to respawn. Okay. Meanwhile, let's say here instead we're gonna rename this to player variables. And this here, we're gonna rename it to header enemy variables. Public game object current enemy object. There you go. Here we're gonna do private enemy current enemy script. There you go. Okay. All right. And what we're gonna do? Oh. Okay. Yeah. I'm also gonna add header core variables. Okay. And here we're gonna have public game object. Spawner, oops, it's public spawner object. This is the object that spawns enemies. Respawn object is gonna be here. Okay, and then let's say public game object, player object. Okay. There you go. Okay. So just give me a second. I'm gonna drink some water. Okay. So the idea is that right now when the player touches the lava, they just respawn. We're gonna keep it that way. But then I'm gonna do else if other dot compare tag is enemy, then we're gonna do current enemy script. Perfect. And then I'm gonna do no, destroy current enemy script dot I can either do dot transform, right? And that technically counts, but I don't find this intuitive, right? Because basically, remember, every single game object, the one component any game object needs is a transform. The transform component is what allows Unity to know that a game object exists at a specific place in the world, right? So that's why I dislike this, because even though this is like the core component of any game object, it just, when you read it, it just sounds less intuitive, right? So instead, what I'm going to do is the game object this component is attached to, boom, there you go, right? So this is more intuitive, but this is the same thing as if I wrote dot transform, right? This and this are the same thing. Oops, there you go. I'm gonna destroy the game object, but before that, okay, it's going to hold on. Private spawner manager. Nope. Private spawner manager. It's gonna be current spawner script. There you go. And now here void start current spawner script equals spawner object dot get component spawner manager. There you go. Perfect, perfect. Oh. Again, let me know, guys, if the video starts buffering or whatever, just in case. All right, so here we have the current spawner script, spawner object gets spawner manager, and what we're gonna do is, let me just go into the enemy script. Here we had the different variables for the different enemy types, right? What I'm gonna do is do this. Public int red enemy, let's say value. There you go. This is how much this enemy is worth in terms of score points. Okay, now let's just do this like that. Blue enemy value, there you go. And then in the core variables, we're gonna do public integer this enemy base value equals -1, public int this enemy final value equals 0. These are used to determine the player's score. There you go. So this enemy final value, etc., etc. And then here we're gonna do set up this enemy's value. And by the way, something that I always write is I like writing this enemy like that without a space or whatever, as if it's its own variable, because this to me, again, like I've been coding for so long that this is a trick I give myself to kind of know where I'm at, right? So this, for instance, okay, so see, yeah, so here what current enemy HP stands for is what is the current HP, as in like what is the enemy's actual HP right now, right? Whereas this max HP stands for what's the maximum HP the enemy could ever have, right? But when I'm dealing with, let's say, what was it, our level boundaries thing, here I have current enemy script. The word current refers to the enemy that this script is currently interacting with. You know what I mean? So again, like it's all based on context, and just I know it can get confusing, but try to use this logic when reading the code to make sense of it. You know what I mean? Okay, perfect. All right, so where were we? Okay, enemy script. So now we're setting up this enemy's value. So we're gonna do if this enemy type equals enemy type none. All we're doing is final value equals base value, right? Else if this enemy type equals enemy type dot red enemy, means that final value equals base value times red value. Okay, there you go. But now I'm gonna change these. These are integers. Once again, they're gonna be modifiers. So we're gonna change them to floats. All right, we're gonna put .0f, .0f, and here remember we're gonna do math f dot round to int. There you go, perfect. Okay, and then here we're just gonna do the same thing for the blue enemy. Blue enemy. There you go, blue enemy. All right, and now we're gonna go back to our level boundaries script, and here. Okay, so now whenever an enemy collides with a level boundaries object. Oh, you're right, red herring. You're right. See, I forget doing this, but yeah, you're right. There you go. There you go. Yeah, because the idea is when it's a number that's an integer, there's no f, there's nothing at the end. But when it's a number and it's a float, I put an f behind it just for me to know, okay, this is a float, right? There you go. Thank you, red herring. Sometimes I forget. Same thing with boolean. Sometimes I forget writing bool behind. Yeah. All right. Perfect. Level boundaries. Okay. So now what happens is whenever an enemy collides with a level boundary, what it's gonna do is it's gonna go here. Hold on, let's say player manager script. Oh wait, the player doesn't have a score. Okay, so just give me a moment. Player manager, where is it? Player manager. Okay, hold on. And look, our player manager script already has almost 600 lines of code, right? And this is really basic what we've been doing so far, right? So imagine what happens when things aren't as basic, right? So let's create core variables here. We're gonna do public int current player score equals 0. There you go. Current player score equals 0. I put it at 0 because we're not setting it up manually. If we were to set it up manually, it would be something else, right? It would be -1 basically. Okay, now we're going back to the level boundaries, and what we're gonna do is also set up the player manager script. So player manager script equals player object dot get component, etc. Technically, script equals player manager dot instance, right? If we go back to our player manager script here, I have the static instance because we're only ever going to have one player manager object and one player manager script at a time. But if you remember correctly, in one of our first streams, it caused issues with the collision, right? So that's why I'm not gonna use this, right? I'm just gonna use this thing. But basically, this and this are the same, right? Okay. Oh damn. Okay, we're back. Okay, perfect. Yeah, because sometimes it tells me like, oh, YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain its smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. But I'm like, I don't know, because I think that the building I live in, which is a new building, it's only like 3 years old, if even that. It might be 2.5 years old. Um, I think for whatever reason, my specific unit has some electricity problems. Like sometimes the electricity just kind of stops for like a split second, but that's enough to like fuck up the internet, basically to like cause a lag spike. I don't know why. It's been that way from the beginning, and when the time comes for me to sell my condo, I'm not gonna tell people about that. I'm gonna be like, yeah, everything's great. Just give me the money. All right. Okay, so as I was saying, yeah, we've set up the player manager script. There you go. Okay, and so now what we're gonna do is basically player manager script dot score, current player score, plus equals current enemy script dot final value. There you go. There you go. All right. Okay, so now I'm just gonna be right back real quick. I'm gonna go fill up my water bottle and I'll be back in like 30 seconds. Jesus. Fuck. Fuck. I drank some water and I choked on the water that I was drinking. Now my hiccup sizzle is back a little bit. Fuck. Alright. Okay, so. The mold. Alright, so. Yeah, it's that simple, basically. Okay, hold on. Let me. Okay. Now, let's go back to the projectile script. And let's just remove the damage. So there you go. Like that. Or actually, you know what I'm gonna do? Because wait, enemy. Do we have something that controls enemy? Oh yeah, HP manager. Oh, hold on. I never put code that activates the HP manager. Lamau. Okay. There you go. Boom. Okay, so actually, let's test this out. Hold on. Let's reactivate the projectile. Where is it? Let's because I was wondering, I was like, why are they just walking through the red explosions and they're not dying? Ah la la. Yeah la 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 la. Okay. Hopefully I get a red. Fuck. Well, okay, whatever. Hey, see? There you go. Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, okay, now I'm like not actually getting swarmed. Oh, okay, hold on. So see, now it's giving us an error here. What is the error? Spawner. Oh, right. Okay, that's funny. Okay. So here it's giving us an error because let's go back to the spawner. Let's clear this. Where's the spawner? Here. As you can see, these aren't prefabs. So I inadvertently killed these two, and so now it couldn't spawn anything anymore, basically, right? Okay. So let's transform these into prefabs. These are player prefabs, folder, enemy, prefabs. Oh, hey Zeno. Hope you're good. Hello, Chaz. Is Randy okay? Has the foot mold claimed another victim? All right, just normal mold. All right. Okay. It's the Galgadot variant mold. Okay, so let's just drop all four of them, right? And now, okay, so here's another important thing. Okay, as you just saw, I selected all four of these enemies, right? And I dragged and dropped them here, and it created four prefabs, right? But if I click, let's say, on the red enemy here in my list and in my spawner in the list, if I click on the red enemy, see it's referencing this one, right? So if I were to hit play, we would still get the same problem because it's still referring to a prefab that actually exists instead of the prefab in the prefabs folder, right? So see if I click the blue one, the yellow one, etc., right? So now let me just replace only the red one, right? So now you see when I click blue, it highlights, hold on. When I click the blue one, it highlights it in the hierarchy. Same thing with the green, yellow, etc. But not red. When I click the red, it highlights the actual prefab, you know? So that's a very important detail. Green and yellow. There you go. Perfect. Okay, so now we shouldn't have this issue. Jeez. Where were we? Okay, yeah, let's just test it out again just to see if I have the... Or actually, hold on. Let's make it spawn enemies 3 times faster. Let's say. Okay. Easy. Oh, ah! There you go. See, so now if I'm only using the red one, there you go. Easy. Okay, let's... Yeah, there you go. So obviously this is completely imbalanced. I'm just now I'm like really fucking overpowered. Now that the actual projectiles work, right? Oh fuck! There you go. Pew pew pew. Right. So again, this is kind of why I'm gonna remove the damage, just because it's like it's way too easy, right? Does that mean it's better to always keep game objects meant to be spawned as prefabs? Yes. Always. Every time. Like the idea is if you're using an object that already exists in the world as the source for what to spawn, right? You're playing with fire. because especially if you're making, like we spoke yesterday, if you're making a um, a video game where the gameplay is emergent, then there's always going to be stuff happening that you cannot predict, and so you're just playing with fire basically. Not gonna lie, it looks really fun and good. Oh well, thank you, Zeno. But the thing is, this goes back to a couple streams ago. What I was saying, it's like hitting the state of flow, right? The flow state, right? Which is it's neither too difficult, because then it becomes frustrating, stressful, etc., etc. But it's also not too easy, because then it's boring. And as you saw, right now the way I've made the game, it's like it's way too easy. It's boring, right? Like nothing's happening basically, right? So again, this is what game design is all about. It's about finding that happy middle, right? Where it's just challenging enough for the player to be focused, right? Because you have to focus when stuff is challenging, but it's not so difficult that you're just like, well, this is broken, this is bullshit, right? Like I can't do anything, right? And vice versa, right? It needs to be just easy enough for the player to be able to succeed, but it shouldn't be so easy that the player succeeds effortlessly, and so it just becomes boring because there's no like skill involved, there's no challenge, etc., etc., right? So now let's start doing that. Let's remove the damage, okay? And instead, what I'm gonna do here in the level boundaries is I'm gonna do, instead of destroy the current game object, all I'm gonna do is enemy script dot HP current HP minus equals max, minus equals enemy script dot max HP. There you go. So that way it for sure dies, right? Okay. And then something else that I'm gonna do that is really that might look fun is I'm gonna add a little bit more code to this, right? Which is to say, or honestly, for now, I'm not gonna. I was gonna add some kind of like, not death animation, but like it would move weirdly when it dies, but it's gonna take too long, and honestly, that's more like fancy stuff, right? It like basically it's not gonna contribute to what I'm trying to show today, so there's no real point to it. We would just end up wasting time. So where was I was at the level boundaries. Okay, yeah, so far so good. Okay, and now the other thing that I'm gonna do is basically where is the spawner? Oh, okay. Platform manager, spawner manager, spawn object, spawn enemies timer. Okay, perfect. And now I'm gonna add here public int number of enemies to spawn equals -1. Determines how many enemies will be spawned this round, okay? And then next to it, public number of enemies killed, basically 0, okay? This is used to know how many enemies this has, or rather this is used to know when to stop spawning enemies, basically. Number of enemies killed. Okay. And then what was the other thing I was gonna do? Okay, right. So current enemy script. Let's go back to the enemy. Let's go core. Or is it core enemy variables? Blah, blah, blah. Here we're gonna do public game object. This enemies spawn object. Okay. This is the spawner object that spawned this enemy, right? And as you can see, I wrote enemy with a Y and then an S afterwards. It's because basically what I wrote is this enemies spawn object, but obviously I'm not going to put an apostrophe in a variable name or whatever, so it's shortened, and the first letter is always not a capital letter. So there you go. So this is what it turns into, right? All right, I gotta go. Might be back if you're still going. If not, then see y'all. All right, take care, Silver Sterling. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. All right. Okay, so just give me a second. Okay. There you go. Okay. Okay. So now the idea is, whenever this spawns an object, what we're gonna do is, okay, current enemy script equals spawned object dot get component enemy. There you go. And then simply say current enemy script dot spawn object equals this dot game object. There, church max. Yeah, exactly. And now I'm just gonna copy paste this line of code here for, oh, Jesus. There you go. There you go. Easy. All right. All right. So there you go. And then, hold on. So now I have these right here. Okay, now we have to go to level boundaries. And now what I'm gonna do is, so here I'm basically telling the enemy that it has to die because it doesn't have any HP anymore. So we're gonna keep this as the last line just to be sure. And now I'm gonna do current spawner script equals enemy script dot spawner object dot get component. There you go. So you see how you can basically get access to a script by accessing a specific game object inside of another script that you just got access to. You see what I mean? So this is how you can like start really doing some really interesting stuff, right? Okay, so now we have this, and now that I have access to the spawner, I'm gonna simply say enemies, number of enemies killed plus equals 1, right? And then let's go back to the spawner manager, and here in the elapsed time, all I'm gonna do here is if enemies killed is lower than enemies to spawn, then we are simply gonna do this. Boom. Like that. There you go. Perfect. So now I think I have everything. Oh, wait, no. I need to also remove the damage from the explosions. Okay, let's remove the damage modifiers. Let's remove these, like that. Explosion base damage, final damage. Oh shit. Okay, well, you know what? Hold on. Instead, what I'm gonna do is this, like that. Okay. And then this. There you go. Perfect. And now, as you can see, it's giving me a bunch of errors. So same thing here. We're just gonna nullify all of this. There you go. We're gonna remove this line of code. We're gonna remove this line of code. I'm gonna remove this line of code. This line of code. Right? There you go. Perfect. And now what I'm gonna do is okay, for now I'm gonna keep it this way. The explosions are pushing the enemies, but the projectiles aren't, right? So let's see how that's going to work, right? Right here. Yeah, let's see how that's going to work. Okay. Let's go into prefabs, player prefabs, green explosion. We're gonna do, let's boost them to 3 times 3 times 3. So instead of using a force of 10, it's gonna use a force of way more than 10, right? Okay, so save. All right. So let's see now. Okay. Oh, fuck. Hold on. Again, human error. Number of enemies to spawn -1. Current object to spawn ID, well, let's say 0. Oh, no, wait, no. Current object to spawn ID, it's in -1. Let me just see what was that used for. Current object to spawn ID is used here. Okay. Spawn object, okay, yeah, so this isn't useful. Allows this script to know what type of enemy to spawn. Okay. Okay. So number of enemies to spawn. Let's say 50. Actually, it's gonna spawn more than that, right? Because this only, so it's only ever going to stop whenever we've killed 50 enemies. So in reality, it might spawn like 5,000 by the time it takes us to kill 50 enemies, right? So that's the logic. So that doesn't exactly work, right? So instead, number of enemies killed. Yeah, so instead, basically the way it should work rather is, yeah, here we're in the spawner. Let's do this like that. Public int number of enemies to spawn, number of enemies spawned equals 0. When both of these are equal with one another, this will stop spawning enemies. There we go. Okay, so now here it's instead of enemies killed, it's enemies spawned. Okay. And then this one, yeah, enemies killed. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So now the last thing I need to do is just do this. So now that we've spawned an enemy, spawned plus equals 1 plus equals 1 plus equals 1. Okay, so now it should be good. There you go. All right. Okay, so let's say 50 enemies. Should spawn all of them in 25 seconds, more or less. Okay. Pew, 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 pew. Oh boy. Oh shit, yeah, these are like the explosions that aren't working properly. Fuck! Ah, shit. Okay, hold on. Yeah, the green ones were like a little buggy. Okay, there you go. Oh shit. Have any of them died yet? Okay, 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 okay. Oh, wait, no. Okay, was it giving me errors? Yeah, okay, hold on, hold on, hold on. It probably yeah, okay, 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 okay. It gave me an error because, again, human error. Where is my level boundary? Is that the only one? Where's the other one? Oh, right. Okay. So this one here is gonna be spawner object. There you go. Spawner object. Player object. Enemy variables. Okay, there you go. Perfect. Okay. So now let's see. Now it should be working properly. Pew pew. Yeah, get fucked. Bitches. Oh. Oh. Yeah, see, I'm at 28 kills right now. Oh, fuck. Oh, there you go. Bye, bitch. See ya. Hey, let's go. Okay, where's the rest? Oh, it gave us 4 errors. Okay, hold on. Now let's see what those 4 errors are. Hold on. This variable. Okay, yeah. This enemy spawn object. Hold on. This enemy spawn object has not been assigned. What? Okay, okay. So for whatever reason, some of the enemies, so 3 of the enemies didn't get... Oh, okay, yeah, it's these enemies over here. It's because remember these 4 ones here. Let's erase them. Okay, there you go. There you go. Okay. So yeah, so far so good. It seems to be more or less working now. Obviously, I need to actually balance things out. But yeah. Hold on. Let's just do it one more time, just because it's funny. Pew pew! Jesus. Fuck you! Yeah, there you go. No, no. Ah, there you go. Bye, bitch. There you go. Bye, bitch. Oh, and also, yeah, that one flew way past the actual lava. Well, there's that. Whee! This is a good deporting simulator. Yeah. All right. So, yeah. So this right here is a good start. Now, obviously, I need to actually tune down my like the power of my explosions, right? Let's put it at half and see how it looks. Okay. There you go. Yeah, okay, this is already, well, it's still kind of crazy actually. Yeah. Oh. Oh. Pew pew. Oh fuck. Yeah, I fall through the ground. All right. Oh. Come on, bitch. No. Okay, I think we're good. Oh fuck. Yo, the boomerangs. Yeah, I think we're good. All right. All right. Okay, so that's good. So now that I've added basically like the really basic environmental stuff, like at this point I can start adding more stuff like more moving platforms and whatnot. Can you make the spawn point to randomly move between 3 or 4 locations when it produces them? Well, yeah, like I could do this, but at this point, because basically I'm trying to show you guys like the different things we can do, right? So that's why this thing really feels like a prototype of like a mishmash of ideas, because I'm the goal with these streams is to mostly show you guys how you can like the different types of mechanics you can make and how I would go about making them, but it doesn't mean that my way is the best way, obviously, right? It's just that's how I do it, like on the fly, on the spot, right? And now what I was thinking, I'm not going to do that today because we just don't have time, but eventually, probably starting next weekend, I'm going to start transforming this this prototype into a bunch of different prototypes, right? So the scene we're in right now, which is called new scene, let me see if I can rename it in the assets, scene, new scene. It's gonna be a platformer. Yeah, platformer, basically. And eventually I'm gonna add like another scene that's gonna be, let's say, tower defense. A third scene that's gonna be I don't know, like management game. A fourth scene that's gonna be MOBA or stuff like that, right? So I'm not gonna end the stream right now, but today's stream is probably gonna be a bit shorter, just because I've kind of shown most of what I needed to show in the context of a platformer, right? Um, but Oh fuck, what was I gonna say? Um, Holy shit! I just had a brain fart. My brain just melted on itself. So I was saying, okay, yeah, we have the platformer here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly, yeah. Because I still have a bunch of stuff to do on my game. Yeah, bro, it's the yogurt. For real. But basically, uh, this stream, um, I'm gonna because I've kind of reached the limit of what I can do with a platformer, right? I can probably do some more stuff, but at this point, it's like it's if I were to continue working on on this platformer right here, it would transform from a game dev tutorial into a like devlog, right? Like a developer, like it would just be me making a game and you guys watching me make a game, right? Which is like not really the purpose of these tutorials, right? So the next step would be for the people watching the VOD and and you guys watching live and everything. I'd like you to submit suggestions for the for what kind of game you would like for us to explore next, right? Like or genre, let's say, right? Do you want an FPS? Do you want a yeah, let's do Tower Defense to Flex on Retro, man. Yeah, well, again, like I'm gonna be showing the basics of stuff, right? So, for instance, if you want, I know, like a racing game, I've never coded a racing game, but I can definitely try to make one, right? And it's gonna be fun because we're basically gonna be learning together, right? And it's gonna be a good prototype, right? Like something that I'm gonna let you guys know for a fact is that all of the different prototypes that I'm gonna be making here are like I am actually gonna end up transforming these into games, right? Like this platformer type of thing that we've been working on so far, I will probably eventually make it into a real game, but that's gonna take months, right? And first, I need to release my first game, my strategy game, see how that goes, and then we'll see, right? So it's not gonna be for at least another year. I'm not gonna do anything with it, right? Um, but yeah, so as I said, like, let me know which genres you'd be interested in. Like, if anything comes to your mind right now, like, type it in chat. And what I'm planning on doing is I'm gonna make another poll. Cause hold on, let me just. Let me just go here. Where's my channel? Re. This is. There you go. There you go. Posts, right? So I'm probably gonna make another poll, right? For which genre of game people would be most interested in, and and then that's gonna be like the next step, right? And the cool thing is that um, I plan on so all of the code that we've done so far, I'm not just gonna like throw it out, right? Instead, I'm gonna reuse it to do different stuff. So I'm also going to show you guys how to like change, like transform your code if you end up like because this is something that happens very often is while you're making your game, your vision changes while you're making the game, and you get ideas for new mechanics that might be closer to the vision of the game you're making, right? And so at that point, it would be interesting for you to see how you can basically transfer your code from one game to the next, right? Uh, can you show ways of showing the UI attached to the player character? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's the thing. Like, the game that we've been making so far, this type of like bullet hell platformer thing, right? It's I could start adding the UI, but it's just like what exactly am I going to be showing, right? Like since we're not doing damage to the enemies and the enemies the only way to kill the enemies is to push them in the lava, there's no point in having health bars. Technically the player doesn't really have a fail state, so that's also kind of pointless, right? So instead, i think I think the next genre I'm gonna make is gonna be a tower defense. uh, just because it's gonna allow me to show you guys UI and raycasts, but uh, already start thinking about what other genres you guys want. Like, I don't know, like, do you want to see like what a MOBA would look like, right? Do you want to see what a third person beat them up, or hack and slash, or RPG, or like, who knows, right? Like, the sky's the limit. But that's the idea, right? So let me know what type of genre you want, and I'm probably gonna make a poll, probably like tomorrow or something like that, on the channel, to see what genre you guys would be interested in after the tower defense, of course. Just because the tower defense, I already have a good idea of how I could transform this um, what's it called, this prototype we have right here, right, this platformer type of game, how I could reuse a lot of the code to basically make a tower defense type of game out of it, and that would allow me to show you guys how to use um, raycasts, how to use UI, how to get a failed state. So for instance, let's say we have 10 lives. If 10 enemies cross the line, we die. That type of stuff, right? That would be more intuitive. And yeah, so I want to see everything, but we can go tower defense. Well, exactly, because tower defense, honestly, like, the reason why so many people make tower defense games, it's because it's one of the easiest genres to make. Like, you guys are gonna see, in probably half of the time it took us to get to where we are right now uh, with this prototype right here, we're gonna have a tower defense game that's probably gonna be already miles ahead of this one, right? In terms of how far ahead in development it is, right? So yeah. So the next plan is gonna be a tower defense game, and then um, after the tower defense game, it's gonna be up to you guys to let me know. Like, do you want to see a racing game? Do you want to see a I don't know, like a farming simulator? Do you want to see like Undercooked, a game similar to Undercooked? Do you want to see an RPG? Uh, Whatever, right? Like, I don't know. I know it's up to you guys. Uh, but anything but a strategy game, because I'm already making a strategy game and I want to fucking shoot myself. Strategy games are strategy games, and MMO games, but especially MMORPGs, are the two most complicated types of games. So anything but a strategy game, or a well, MMO, obviously I'm not, like, I don't even know how to code in multiplayer, so forget it. But will that be in a different project? No, it's gonna be the same project. And I'm gonna be linking, I'm gonna be sending on the Discord, I'm gonna be sending copies of the project, right? So again, that's gonna be useful, because eventually the project, you're gonna have like the platformer scene, you're gonna have the tower defense scene, you're gonna have the, I don't know, the racing game scene, the we already said platformer, the, I don't know, uh, the cooking simulators, like, I don't know, right? Who knows, right? But that here is the idea. A tower defense for your tower is a city that protects itself with orbiting projectiles. Could be cool. Yeah. Yeah. That could be interesting. Um, hmm. Yeah. So initially, what I'm gonna do for next weekend is I'm gonna make like the most bog standard um, tower defense game. So let me give you an example, right? Uh, I'm gonna I'm gonna do. Wait. It's gonna be easier if I go on Steam. Steam powered. Okay, categories. Oh, categories. Genres: action, arcade, and rhythm. No, no. No, platform. No, third. No. What the fuck is shmup? the fuck is shmup? What? Twin stick shooters, side scrollers, platformer, bullet hell, shoot 'em up. Okay. Alright. Hold on. Puzzle, story rich, visual novel, role playing strategy. Okay, tower defense. Tower defense. Now let's see. Okay, yeah, so this is Legion tower defense. So see, something like Legion tower defense is actually one of the more complicated ones to make. In terms of like, because it requires more mechanics, right? But what you can start off with is something a bit more basic. No, not Orcs Must Die. No, not They Are Billions. Not Call of Olympus. Yeah, something more like Balloons tower defense, right? Where like the enemies have a specific path, right? Hold on, let's click. The enemies have like a specific path that they're following or whatever, right? Or a very good example is Kingdom Rush. Kingdom Rush. Let's say Origins because it's the best one of the 5. Okay, well, this is like the world map. Okay, so here you have your terrain. You have like the enemies arriving from all sides, right? And here you have your towers doing their thing, right? So this is very basic. I'm gonna probably do something similar to this. Obviously, it's not gonna look this good, right? And eventually we can evolve this, right? Like we can do like what Red Herring suggested of like the build area can start to move maybe, or and actually having the build area move could be a good way for me to show you guys how to do animations, right? Some really basic animations. Then what else? Yeah, so that's the plan, right? Like I'm gonna do the tower defense type thing, and then eventually we can go into something more interesting, right? Like people want to see a roguelike. Okay, let's make a roguelike. Let's make whatever, like an RPG or whatever, right? So yeah, so I think that's a good plan for now. Do you guys have any other questions? Anything anything you'd be interested in seeing or whatever? Or actually while we're here on stream, let's content posts. Okay. Let's make another post. Create a post. Okay. Create a post. It's gonna be a poll, text poll. Okay. Add another options. Okay, I can add 4 options. Okay, so starting next week, I'll be transforming the game dev project into, or oh, fuck, how can I word this? So starting next week, I'll be making a brand new prototype or not exactly. Okay, so starting next week, the game dev streams will focus on the tower defense genre. However, once we're done with once we're done with the tower defense prototype, I'd like to know what other genre of game y'all would be interested in seeing. Okay, so what Come on, like we have room for 4 options. So give me what's 4 genres of games you guys would be interested in seeing how they're made other than platformer and tower defense, right? Go, come on, chat. Come on. FPS, horror, hack and slash. Okay, so we have, hold on. I'm gonna write them all down. FPS, horror, hack and slash. Okay. FPS slash. Fuck, okay. Hold on. Okay, so we have FPS, horror, hack and slash. What else? Maybe two out of three. 2 out of 3 one-on-one fighting game. I'm not sure. Are you saying maybe? Oh, okay. So 2D/3D fighting game. Okay. Viking Sim or survival? Well, bro, it's up to you guys. We're just gonna say horror for now. So the idea is these genres need to be broad because again we only have 4 options here. If we had more, I would add more, right? But we have 4 options, so I'd say keep it broad. So let's say for horror, we're just gonna keep it horror, and then if let's say most people vote for horror, then I would have another vote for what type of horror, right? That's I guess how I would go about doing it, right? Horror is not a genre is what I'm saying. Okay, gotcha. Like Dead Space or Condemned or even Silent Hill. Okay, fighting games are complicated as fuck, guys. Yeah, that's true. Also, I don't play fighting games. Again, I'm willing to try it. If that's what most people want to see, then fuck it, let's try it, right? But it's like, what would be the genre for a game where you control a planet that eats other planets? Isn't that just Pac-Man? When you think about it, because like gameplay wise, what's the difference, right? Sorry, red herring, but the genre you described is Pac-Man. Okay. But the characteristics of your planet changes depending on your conquests. Yeah. So what would that be like? Okay. Well, hold on. Come on, guys. I need genres. Like, give me genres. So far, only Xeno gave me specific genres, right? I have this here. So FPS. Should I say FPS slash third person shooter? So first, yeah, let's do it a bit broader, like that first slash third person shooter. Soul slap. Okay, yeah. Souls slap. Slap. Okay. Okay, so out of all of these, again, fighting game, it's probably a bit too complicated. Third person versus FPS is a massive gap also. Yeah, I know. We'll be covering co-op. No, exactly. For now, I don't know how to make multiplayer games because I haven't spent the time, I haven't needed to learn that, right? But God game genre maybe. Well, the thing with God games is that that's practically a strategy game, and those ones are really complicated. So for now, I want to keep like to a bit easier, right? Like some easier types of genres, right? So hold on. Oh Jesus. Oh, okay. Hold on. God damn it. Okay. Visual novels would be okay. Well, I want something that requires a bit more mechanics, right? Because like visual novels, it's pretty much all about the UI, And I guess I could show you this, but that would be like two or three streams max. Visual novels, because in the tower defense that I'm gonna start, um, in the tower defense that I'm gonna start doing next weekend, I'm gonna start doing UI. And honestly, like, coding UI is really simple, but implementing the visuals and everything, it's a bit more of a pain in the ass. And so the thing is, once you know how to code a visual novel, like I could honestly do visual novels. So let's say, hold on. So let's say Souls Slop. Then first/third person shooter, let's say, right? Roguelites, guys, or card games could serve you all good. Hack and slash, maybe, although again, that might be a bit more complicated. But if we have Soul Slop, then actually, okay, that's the thing. I'm gonna keep genres that would be easier to transition into other genres, right? No group. Okay, so hold on. So you know what? I was thinking about a card game, but which one? Okay, so I think I have an idea, right? I'm gonna put genres here. So basically, the platformer was fairly basic, right? Like I showed you guys some very basic stuff, right? The tower defense is probably going to be even more basic than that, right? And so what I'm thinking is that the next couple of genres we're going to explore are going to get progressively more and more complex, right? So Soul Slop isn't the most complex. First/third person shooter is a bit more complex, but it's still doable because you kind of saw the game that we have right now, right? Like, this thing here is already kind of a third person shooter, right? So we already have the basics here. Visual novel is about the most basic type of UI game. So visual novel. Okay. Um, and then what else? Okay, so hold on. So starting next week, the game dev streams will focus on the tower defense genre. Exactly. However, once we're done with the tower defense prototype, I'd like, no, we will start working on other genres. The idea being that each prototype we make will be centered around a different genre of games, and each subsequent prototype / genre should be more complex than the previous one. Exactly. Okay, so Soul Slop, this visual novel. Jesus, he actually put visual novel. Okay, let's make a dating sim then. Okay, hold on. So, well, cause visual novel, bro, I'm telling you, it's gonna be like maybe 2 or 3 streams, if even, right? Like, it's gonna be the most basic stuff, right? Don't do visual novel. Okay, well, if you don't want a visual novel, then give me a real genre, you motherfucker. Okay, so hold on. So maybe city builder / colony sim. CRPG. What the fuck is? I forgot what's a CRPG. CRPG meaning computer role-playing game. It refers to a type of video game genre characterized by detailed storytelling, character advancement, often What is the difference between an RPG and a CRPG? Tabletop RPGs are things like D&D. CRPGs are computer versions of these. Okay, like Baldur's Gate 3. Okay. TRPG can mean TTRPG, or it can mean tactical role-playing game, which would be one that... Ooh! Oh, shit! Okay, I just got an idea. Yeah. Oh, bro, fuck looter shooters. That's gonna be in the FPS slash third person shooter. Okay. No visual novel. I just threw out there the for goofs and gaffs. Icewind Dale, Neverwinter Nights. Yeah. CRPGs are also complicated. Do a Diablo-like and call it a day. You want to know? Well, we're doing prototypes, so prototyping ideas is not that complicated, right? It's just to show like this is how you basically create the skeleton of the game, right? So like right here, we have like the skeleton of a platformer game, right? If I like with the tower defense that I make, it's gonna be the most basic tower defense you'll ever see in your life, right? Then don't have to go all out for prototype. Exactly, it's just 3 out of 4 stats and a few corridors, bosses, treasure chest. Exactly, right? So okay, so what I'm thinking is soul slop. Then soul slop slash. Well, yeah. Soul slop. First slash third person shooter. City builder slash colony sim. Then here I could do maybe. Horror. I don't really have enough experience with horror. That's the problem with horror, because with horror, well, actually, you know what? Horror might be interesting to test AI out. So let's see horror, right? Horror slash survival. Let's say soul slop slash RPG. Yeah, RPG. CRPG. Turn based RPG, etc. Okay. If your city builder includes moving cities, I'm in. Well, it could. So the idea, horror is simple, mostly scripted. Well, exactly. But you could make some interesting horror stuff, right? Okay, so hold on. So actually, hold on. RPG. We're gonna do RPG, blah blah blah, souls slop, etc. Right? So CRPG, turn-based RPG, soul slop, etc. First or third person shooter, city builder slash colony sim, horror survival. Okay, and so the idea behind these, right, would be that the prototype we've done so far, well, exactly, a good amount of flexibility for fundamental mechanics too. Exactly. So the idea would be that the platformer prototype we've worked on so far, right, and the tower defense I'm going to start working on next week are going to be like the bedrock for these other games, basically, right? For these other genres, right? Because when when I make the tower defense, if we decide to go with a city builder slash colony simulator, right? Well, then we're already gonna have the base, and so it's gonna be easier to make like cooler stuff with it, right? If we're doing the horror slash survival game, well, we already have the basics with some of our enemies in this game, right? Same thing if we go with a shooter, we already kind of have the basics here, right? And with an RPG, that's probably the one that's gonna be the most different out of all of these. But an idea that I had with it was hold on, wakfu gameplay would be, yeah, like that basically. Hold on. Okay, so can we get the combat, housing, customization, character creation, story, intro, community? Where's the fucking combat, bitch? What? No combat? Oh, wow. Weather review. Okay, is it gonna show us the fucking combat? Come on, bitch. Show me. No, it's not showing the fucking combat. Bro, what the fuck is this? Okay, well, let's click on this. Okay, so as you can see, like, you select your character, you move where you want, like you can do certain effects in certain places, etc., right? That's kind of the idea, you know. That's what I'm thinking we could go with, right? So I'm going to post it right now, okay, and go vote, you bitches. This is a democracy. You have to vote. Vote. I better be seeing votes. Okay, we have one vote. We need more votes. All right. Yeah, I figured it was used, you know. All right, so yeah, so that's the plan. Next week we're gonna start tower defense, so that I can show you guys what raycasts are and how to use them. That's gonna be fun. You guys are gonna see raycasts. It's a bit difficult to understand at the beginning, right? It's not the most intuitive stuff at the very beginning, but once you kind of learn how to use it and stuff like that, you're gonna see it's actually quite interesting, right? And it does have lots of potential, right? Oh, well, rip horror. Yeah. Well, also the thing is that I'm gonna keep these genres open, and so for instance, once I'm done with the tower defense, so let's say City Builder and Colony Sim ends up winning it, and it ends up being the next prototype I make after the tower defense. Well, I'm gonna keep these three here, right? And then I'm gonna replace this with like another genre, right? Let's see. Oh shit! Oh shit! It's equalized. All right. Oh, never mind. It died again. All right. Democracy sucks. All right. Well, still said the shooting didn't get any. Well, as I said, like if for instance City Builder were to win after tower defense, like in fact that might be the best, because the tower defense game could easily transition into the City Builder prototype, right? Which would take less. Basically, the streams like we would get more stuff done with fewer streams, which would basically mean that it would take less time for us to get to these other genres, right? A million votes will surprise you. Yeah, we need the recount. All right, hold on. All right, okay. So yeah, so that's that. You know, that's the plan. Oh yeah, this reminds me of another game that could be interesting in terms of like turn-based games and stuff like that. Bro, this game had such crazy potential, man. It's crazy.
Hey everybody, I'm Blitz. Welcome to a game called Duelist. So Duelist is, according to their website, the ultimate collectible. Let's do a little bit of a switcherooski. Let's
switch. So it's kind of like Hearthstone, but also like a tactical RPG or whatever.
Switcherooski this one because we don't have any minions right now. Ooh, that one looks good. To death. Let's see.
There you go. You can spawn different units, so on and so forth, right? So again, like the different genres we make can evolve. Like the different prototypes we're going to be making will evolve from one genre to the next, and so that's why I'm going to be able to show you guys how to do different things, right? So yeah. So I guess that's the idea. Yeah, I know Duelist still has an offline version, but the problem is that they like merged the accounts with another company, and so basically I lost all of my data. And when that happened, I was like, well, fuck this shit. Like I just lost all of my cards, all of my decks, all of that shit. So fuck that. I'm not interested, right? So yeah, okay. So that's the plan. I've been rambling, I've been yapping for a solid like hour 40 something minutes. Let's just go back to see the post one last time to see. Hold on, there you go. Yeah, it's still at 4 votes. All right, well, yeah, on that note, hold on, I'm just gonna link the server again. Server settings. Oh, no, not server settings. Invite people, copy. There you go. All right, thanks for the stream, Randy. I'll see some of chat later when I stream Doom. Yeah, so if you guys are interested, go watch Xeno Chimera's stream. But yeah, so that's the plan. Next week, we're going to start tower defense. And we'll see how long that lasts. How long it takes for us to get a proper prototype going. I'm mostly going to be exploring stuff like raycasts and UI and player fail state with the tower defense game. And so once we're going to have the basics of the tower defense game and with everything we've learned also from the platformer prototype, we're going to start doing other stuff like that, right? But again, after the tower defense, it might be a city builder, it might be something else. Who knows, right? But yeah, on that note, thanks for watching. I love you all. I'll see you guys next time. Kiss, kiss, hug, hug. And yeah, take care.